Hello everyone, welcome back. This is our virtual unit preview for Unit 4. Remember, these are designed to help teachers understand what is coming up in the next unit and give you a long-term goal of what we want scholars to know by the end of this unit. This unit is laid out a little differently to help you think backwards from the text rather than from the TEKS. The rationale behind this is that a read aloud is supposed to be a time where you are showing scholars what it's like to read authentically and think about a book. When we read, we don't just think about cause and effect or an inferencing. We use all the strategies that we teach to understand the big idea of the book. And that's what the unit at a glance, the new layout, is going to help. It's more authentic. This is the first page of the new unit at a glance template. It gives you some of the same information as the last one, the IB connection, the TEKS, but one thing new is that this template starts by listing the read aloud text and shared reading text that you will be using this unit. Starting in this unit, you will be doing more closed reading lessons as opposed to shared reading. Scholars will be Starting this unit, you'll be doing more closed reading lessons as opposed to shared reading lessons, not only to help scholars work up to third grade where they are just doing closed reading. Starting this unit, you'll be doing more closed reading lessons as opposed to shared reading lessons to help scholars work up to third grade where they are just doing closed reading. Remember, shared reading is about fluency and vocabulary, while closed reading focuses more on the big idea and comprehension. To help with the planning of this, there is an AML on Blackboard of a closed reading lesson that you can use in your classroom and help you plan your closed reading. A couple reminders. During read aloud, scholars should be having to do a written response for each book that you read. They should also be making connections to the transdisciplinary theme, and there should be a scholar-led discussion about the themes in that book. Again, this is done with every book. This part of the layout is the part that's really changed. Instead of starting with the TEKS and trying to find a text that aligns, we are now starting with texts that are aligned with IB and that are appropriate for scholars, and then backwards aligning it with the TEKS. As we know, reading TEKS spiral a lot, and they are easy to apply to pretty much any text. For example, in this story, Jack's Path of Courage, I included the TEKS on character traits, main idea, order of events, and making connections, while I also included these same TEKS when reading March On, The Day My Brother Changed the World. You can easily apply both these TEKS to both books because they both have characters, events, and scholars can make connections to these people's lives. Also included on this new layout is the big idea, which is what we are trying to get scholars to understand about a book. You also find how the book aligns to the PYP, the basic understandings, so the parts of the books that help scholar understand the big idea. And also there are questions that align to the big idea, the CA and the scope and sequence. I recommend looking through all of these books and choosing the ones that would fit best with your scholars. There are more books than you have time for in Unit 4, but I did this so that you can have options and decide which books are best for your kids. As well, if you choose to use a different story or a different book that is not on this list, looking over this AML or this unit at a glance will help you or gives you an example of the thought process you should be having when analyzing that book to begin planning your read aloud lesson. Since we've already taught these TEKS in previous units, there are not any new misconceptions, but I urge you to constantly assess your scholars in the moment, and if they are not understanding the big idea, don't hesitate to go back into the text, reread the important parts that lead to the big idea, and either continue questioning or have an impromptu think aloud if necessary. It's important, and remember the basis of a read aloud, that scholars understand that authors write a story or a book for a purpose and they have a meaning behind it. They need to know that as natural And authentic readers, we don't read for one purpose, but to enjoy it and to learn a lesson or idea from the book, which shapes us as human beings. I have put up some resources that will help teachers expand their knowledge of and understanding of independent reading, what it looks like, and some resources to help you when you plan and stay organized with checking in with scholars. We will also be talking more about independent reading at the collab day. So if you have any questions about that in particular, don't hesitate to either reach out or wait for the collab day and we can talk about it more. That's the end of our virtual unit preview for Unit 4. Thank you for stopping by, and remember, please don't hesitate to email me if you have any questions or if you need anything.